The man with the keys controls everything. He wants me to open all the red doors. Won't you help me open all the red doors? Help me unleash my evil. Open every red door all over the world. 'Cause if you don't... Insidious, The Last Key, was directed by Adam Robitel, who did The Taking of Deborah Logan and Escape Room 1 and 2. Why they felt the need to do the first Escape Room, or even come up with the concept, I'll never know. The Taking of Deborah Logan was fine for what it was, but this is about, of course, The Last Key. Okay, I'll put these down. I'm done with that. This was the fourth entry in the Insidious franchise, because when you get to a fourth movie, you are a franchise, and has Lynn Shane returning as Elise. The woman that can talk to ghosts and demons, go into the further, save people. We see that in the first Insidious, the second Insidious, and Chapter 3. Now we see it in this one. And this involves Lynn Shane and Lee Winnell, who also writes this movie, like he helped write the other ones. And Tucker, played by Angus Simpson, and they team up to go back to Lynn Shane's, Elise's ancestral home. I think I said that right. To confront an ancient evil that took down her family, caused so much destruction. She's bound, determined to end this evil once and for all, even if it costs her life. If you know anything about the Insidious movies, she doesn't die here, because she died at the end of the first Insidious. Sorry, spoilers. Movie's been out for quite a while. And she must do everything she can to solve this mystery before they are further into history. Last Key Tales, woohoo. Okay, so the fourth entry in the Insidious franchise, because when you get to that point, you are obviously a franchise, was not very good. I'm going to have spoiler-free thoughts for a bit, because this movie's only been out for 5 years and doesn't qualify as a retro review. I decided to rewatch all the Insidious movies because Insidious The Red Door is coming out in just a few days. I'd record this on 4th of July. I'm saying that just in case you hear any explosions outside, because the place where I live, the neighborhood doesn't really care about laws. They'll just fire off whatever. It's amazing shit hasn't burned down completely. But yeah, Insidious, The Last Key, is terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Lynn Shane is fine. The performances are fine. The problem is the story folds back in on itself, and was anybody really crying out for what started as a prequel but turned into a sequel to the prequel that was Chapter 3, but then was a prequel to the first two? You don't need to muddy up a timeline and muddy up, a story that really didn't need a deep narrative. You just needed to tell stories about demons and ghosts and give us a few characters to root for, and you just want to keep heaping on backstory here, like your Annabelle Creation, except Annabelle Creation was good. So, yeah, this movie isn't really all that great. There is a story about Elise and her brother, Christian. That's kind of ironic, given the fact that we have a lot of demon talk and everything. And basically, we find out in this long opening that's, a flashback to Five Keys, New Mexico. Gee, that couldn't be more on the goddamn nose. Basically, her dad was a bit of a piece of shit and everything, and very abusive. As she mentioned, she talked to ghosts. He was not very nice to her. The mother was nice, but the mother, unfortunately, ended up meeting an unfortunate end. And then we go to current day, which is actually 2010, the year of the first Insidious movie. And then from there, we find out more about how Elise had the gift and has to basically go back to help somebody that's living in her old house. That turns out to go really tits up. She runs into her brother, who's a lot older now, because we all age, and he has two daughters, Melissa and Imogen, who, Caitlin Gerard, who is gorgeous, by the way, and Spencer Locke. And I know both those, I've seen them in other stuff before. They've been in better stuff than this. And yeah, we just basically get another haunted house, demon further exploration, lots of walking around a house, good goddamn grief. I think this movie is 200% people walking in and around dark rooms, and also a demon that has little keys on it. He puts the key and he can turn off your voice box, and he can put it in your chest, and he can take you over. Yeah, Insidious the Last Key. And basically, it's about confronting this evil, figuring out all this stuff and what's going on and why this evil is doing what it's doing. Well, it's an evil demon, so that's what it's going to do. And the jump scares are pretty much non-existent. This is the first Insidious movie that didn't immediately pound you in the face with a goddamn jump scare noise. But besides Lynn Shane's performance, I mean, Lee Winnell and Angus Simpson are fine. The two girls that play the sisters are fine in more ways than one. But the movie itself doesn't end up really meaning all that much because this really was just much like Chapter 3, heaping more stuff on a series that didn't really need a backstory. It would be one thing if the first Insidious was good, but it wasn't. It would be another thing if Chapter 2 was good, except it was worse than Chapter 1. Chapter 3 was not all that good. And this just ends up being more of the same, where, okay, yeah, you see a few things, but they played it more safe. Now, The Taking of Deborah Logan was not a bad movie. And that had more subtlety, and it had a better payoff. This just ended up kind of folding back in on itself and going right into the events of the first one, because that's how you would have to do something if it starts at the prequel, but then ends up as a sequel to the prequel, and then goes into the events of the first one. Yeah, you pretty much just have it wrapped up in a nice, neat little bow, and then you get to the first one, and then the second one, and then it just folds back in on itself. And then soon we get Insidious the Red Door, which I really, really hope Patrick Wilson can do a good job with. I'll find out in a couple days, but this wasn't good. This wasn't good at all. Despite the performances, despite the attempt to create atmosphere, it did make some money. It cost $10 million and made about $67 million worldwide, and made $167 million worldwide and $67 million domestic. So it was a success. And from there, that's basically just all I have to say without getting into spoilers. And the spoilers will not take very long, just so you know, because this movie isn't very good and doesn't have really a deep narrative, despite what it thinks it has. 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. Okay. So yeah, we're in Five Keys, New Mexico. The dad works at a penitentiary, was in the war, watches old war propaganda, and then Elise can see ghosts from an early age. And her brother named Christian, I always thought that was kind of funny. So she's calling out to the ghosts, it's fine. The dad's abusive. You can't call out the ghosts. You don't see ghosts. The mother, I'm going to play the mother, is beautiful, by the way. Telling her, don't worry, just, keep embracing your gift. More ghosts, and then a keyhole that you look in and open this door and it'll be fine. We have ice cream and puppies over here. It's fine. And then, the mother dies. The dad's upset. We go to we're 16 minutes in and we go to present day. And now, after the events of the third movie, when they teamed up, Specs, Angus, and Elise, now they're going to go back to New Mexico. This guy named Garza, or Ted rather, is in the old house. And some weird shit's happening. And then it turns out that Ted actually has trapped somebody in the basement, because Ted is absolutely insane, because Ted has been taken over by the key ghost. Yeah, okay, I lied about the visual gag. I can't help it. And Elise keeps hearing this ghost say, help her. Help me, help you. I like the drinking bird there, because it reminded me of that Simpsons episode. It's drinking the water. It's like, Herb, I want you to acknowledge me and your brother and all is forgiven. It's like, no, okay, then just give me the drinking bird. Because if you can make me think of the Simpsons, then maybe you're not all that bad. The good Simpsons, that is. Runs into Christian's daughters, and then runs into Christian. He doesn't want to have anything to do with her. So we see another flashback. Elise ran out and left Christian. Didn't mean to abandon her brother, but probably was tired of being abused by the dad. It turned out the dad was actually trapping women in the basement, much like Ted has, because they're being possessed by the fucking key ghost. The key ghost that's doing this and everything and taking a key and... It's all about keys. They're going to keep showing keys in this movie. I'm going to keep doing that. Key Largo, Montego. Boy, I want to take it to Kokomo. It would have been better than fast. We want to take it slow. And then we get to the fact that Ted traps Angus and Elise in the room with the girl that's there, Anna, that turns out to be a missing nurse. Ted tries to chase Specs around. Specs knocks him out and then throws a cabinet, or pushes a cabinet on his head. That was that was good violence right there. And then everybody's walking around more dark rooms. One of the daughters gets attacked. It turns out Imogen is actually somebody that has the gift of second or third or sight, or in the land of the blind, the one-eyed girl sees all. I think that's how that saying goes. And the dad kept people chained up. Everybody kept people chained up. Pulls his string. There's a string going into this area where there's this fan and all these suitcases. And Elise ends up getting taken into the further because there's all these bodies and these demonic things going on and whatever. And then she meets her childhood self, says, always embrace your gifts. And then old Elise is there. The man with the keys keeps trying to get me to open the doors. And then Imogen says, I'll save her. I have this gift that I've never really fucking used. And then she does. And then old Elise, is beating the shit out of her dad's ghost, much like he did to her when she was younger. And then sees a demon and says, you feed on hate and fear. Breaks a stick, you can fucking starve. And by the way, the other girl, Melissa, had actually gotten the key in her throat and then gotten the key in her chest and shut her up. See, that's good when you can get them to shut up. Oh, this is going well. And then they basically try to get everybody out of the further. The demon throws Lynn Shane, who I'm fairly certain did not take that bump, but nevertheless. Key in the neck. Oh no, she's going to get killed. And then Imogen throws her a whistle because there was this whistle theme throughout the entire thing that the brother had used to, alert anybody if there was a ghost or if he was in danger. The mother had given. By the way, here's a whistle. You can blow it just in case. And then, because the mother had died, so Elise manages to blow the whistle despite not having any voice. And I guess she would have air to blow the whistle. The mother shows up and says, get away from my kids, and bursts the demon out of the way. And they could have done that all this time. Why the hell did we watch this goddamn thing? And then Elise ends up seeing visions, taking, Melissa back from the further, opens this one red door, and suddenly Dalton, the boy from the first one, sees clips of him, and he's about to fall down, and he hits his head. Oh my God, it's tying into the first one. And then Melissa's saved straight out of Soul Goddamn Taker, except it didn't take nearly 18 years for that to happen. And then everybody's fine, everybody's safe. Christian apologizes for that. She apologizes for leaving him. All is forgiven. And then she has visions of Dalton, and then the red-faced demon, and that's it. That's it. That's Insidious, the last key. Don't worry, a red door could be good. It could be. It probably won't be, but we'll find out in just a few days. But meanwhile, the last key. Anyway, so yeah, the movie gets a D, I guess. I mean, it's about the most... No, it gets an F. Fuck it, it's terrible. Yeah, it gets an F. I can't even say, with the atmosphere and the acting and a couple cute girls, I can't say this is very good. It's not scary at all. I was laughing mostly. Because it's more backstory than we needed to a movie called fucking Insidious. Or Insidious, as I call it. Anyway, agree, disagree with what I said, like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Reckland. I'll see you soon.